Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Today I wanted to make a video because I just got back from a walk, and while I was walking, I was thinking about how when I first started flipping items from eBay to Amazon over 4 years ago, and I was thinking to myself, I remember when I first started doing this, I was like so grateful that I found this opportunity because at the time, I was mostly just sourcing from thrift stores, garage sales, and nothing beats a thrift store find. Nothing beats a garage sale find. Even like some of these Facebook Marketplace finds and library sales, those are those are the best, right? Because these items you pick up, you're paying $1 or $2 and you're flipping them for $40, $50, $60, $70, making 800, 1200% ROI. Let's be real, nothing beats that. But the downside to that is you have to drive all over the place. And, that's what I was doing. I actually got into a pretty nasty car accident, got smashed by a commercial vehicle, and it just traumatized me, right? I didn't want to drive around, but there's so many amazing deals at these places, but you have to drive all over the place. It takes a ton of time, and it's tough to scale over $10,000 a month, even in gross revenue with that model, So when I found eBay to Amazon, I was just so freaking grateful for it because I was able to source as much inventory as I wanted to. And while I didn't have, 500, 1,000% ROIs, I was consistently picking up items that were 40, 50, 60, 100, 150% ROI. And I could literally source as much inventory as I wanted to. And that's the key. If you want to scale your Amazon business, you've got to scale your ability to be able to source more products or source higher quality products. And that's the toughest thing, going to thrift stores, going to garage sales. There's only so much limited amount of inventory based on what Goodwill brings out, or, if it's the weekend, maybe at a thrift store or an estate sale, or if, new books got donated to the library sale. So I was just so pumped up to be able to find a way that I could be able to source unlimited amounts of inventory. Now, granted, it did require more capital, but I could do it 100% from home. And when I started doing this, very quickly, I just started to be able to source a ton of deals, find a bunch of inventory. I did make a bunch of mistakes, but I went from doing, 5 to 7,000 a month to doing consistently 10, 15,000 a month, 20,000 a month. And what I want to talk about in this video is if I would have listened to what everybody else was telling me, I would have been $500,000 in profit poorer 4 years later. Yes, 4 years later, when I actually made the decision to start, up until now, I've done over $2 million in revenue, gross revenue, and $500,000 profit. That's profit after expenses, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on eBay, after returns, after all the issues, all the overhead. $500,000. And the reason I want to make this video is because you might find a really unique way to make money. Okay, for me, it was eBay to Amazon, but there could be some risks involved, and there certainly is risks involved with eBay to Amazon. But you might find something completely different. Maybe it's like a YouTube automation, or maybe it's drop shipping. And even though there may be risks involved, the point I want to try to make here is, don't just listen to what other people say, because if those people aren't in the trenches with you doing exactly what you're doing and having success with, in my situation was eBay to Amazon, do not listen to them, because there's always a way to make it work. And even though sourcing from eBay to Amazon has risks, right? Amazon's not necessarily going to take an eBay invoice. There's so many ways to be able to prevent getting Section 3s, prevent buying counterfeits, prevent getting IP complaints. And yes, it could happen, right? You could get an IP complaint, you could get a counterfeit, but there's ways to beat it. And there's ways to, be able to have your account take an IP complaint or a counterfeit. I'm just so glad. I want to make this video to say and just document, I am so glad, and even to remind myself in the future, if this ever happens again, do not listen to the sheep, okay? And I know that comes off in a really negative way, and I don't mean it as if I'm better and I'm superior. I don't think that. I don't believe that at all, right? I think whatever. The point I'm trying to make is, if you look around at most people in business, they're not having a lot of success. They're not building their finances. They're not as successful overall as they want to be. So why would you listen to them? Why would you listen to people who aren't in the trenches doing what you want to do, who aren't getting the results that you want to get, and take their advice? And I almost did. I almost took people's advice because everybody was telling me, It's so risky. You're going to get your account suspended. You're not going to last 3 months. You're not going to last 6 months. You're not going to last 12 months. Watch everybody. He's going to be making a video sharing that his account got suspended and he's gone. And guess what? That still could happen, right? Just because you're 37 years old and you've never gotten hit by a car. I don't know why I always use this example, probably because I'm traumatized by my car accident. But you might be 37 years old and maybe you've never gotten into a car accident before. But guess what? It doesn't mean tomorrow you're not going to be driving and get smashed by a vehicle. Knock on wood, right? All because you've never had food poisoning before. It doesn't mean you're not going to get food poisoning in the future. You can do everything you possibly can. The point I'm trying to make is I could still get my account suspended, just like you could still get food poisoning, right? But the point here is, and I'm going to say it again, do not listen to other people if you're having success with something and your gut feeling is telling you, there's something here. There is something special here. I think I found something really, really awesome. And you've got to weigh the risks and rewards, right? There's always risks and there's always rewards with any business that you want to run, okay? There's going to be people who make wholesale sound like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then there's going to be people saying private label. And then there's going to be people who say traditional online arbitrage, right? But the truth is there's pros and there's cons. There's risks and rewards with every single model. And each person who's watching this video is going to have certain things that they like, dislike, certain amounts of risk they're willing to take, certain amounts of capital, certain amounts of business experience. I'm not here to tell you to do eBay to Amazon. I can give a damn if you do it or not. But I'm trying to share the lesson that I learned. You may come across an opportunity one day that just is working out really, really well for you. And other people might tell you, stop doing it. That's crazy. You shouldn't do that. You should do this. You should do that instead. It's safer. And sometimes in life, you got to take a risk. You can't always take the safest route. And I am so grateful and blessed that I somehow had the courage or the knowledge in my head to go believe in myself. So many times we're just copying and pasting and following this guru and following that person and watching this video and taking their advice. When are we going to take our own goddamn advice? That's the point I want to make right here. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're having a lot of success and doing really well with something in your gut, in your heart, and you've weighed the risks and rewards and you understand it, go with it. Don't just listen to what freaking Bozo McGillicuddy is telling you to do because it sounds good, right? In the society we live in nowadays, there's certain things that just sound good. And the masses, the sheep, they just love to agree with it. Sometimes you got to go your own direction. If you do what everybody else does, you think you're going to get extraordinary results? No, you've got to do something that's extraordinary. Break the word down, right? Something that's extra, something that's different, something that's above and beyond, right? And for each one of us, that's going to be different. But I wanted to just share this, and obviously you can tell that I am getting pumped up right now because it makes me sick to my stomach when you see some of these clowns on the internet bashing and putting people down. And that happened to me, right? They put me down for going after something that was working really well. And I knew the risks, I knew the rewards, I knew the challenges, I knew that I could get kicked off, but I was always transparent with it online. But some of these clowns, they hate it because they're trying to push you towards some type of agenda to join their software or join their course or join this so they can get you into a mastermind or a coaching program. There's a lot of people out there who are very happy to see you do well, but once you start doing better than them or you start taking a different path, things switch up. But I am just so glad that I followed my heart. And again, the purpose of this video isn't to tell you to do what I'm doing because what I'm doing isn't the best for you, right? It's the best for me right now. And guess what? It's a stepping stone to probably something better in the future, right? I truly believe that everything we do in life is a stepping stone to something better, right? All the mistakes we make these are mistakes that we learn to help us with our next journey, with our next adventure. But let me know if this video resonated with you guys. I know I went a little crazy here, but I truly mean this. And I'm just so blessed and grateful for the opportunity to flip items from eBay to Amazon. I'm so grateful and blessed that I decided to do what my heart desired. So let me know if this resonated with you. I appreciate you guys. Much love. I'll see you in the next one and have a beautiful day. Bye.